I'm happy to talk about these two watercolors and how some of the theme of the revisit release were at play when I was working on that one in particular. So the painting here on my left is from 1985. It is about 40 years old, and I traded this watercolor with a friend of mine, Jody Williams, who passed away last fall. And the painting came back into my possession in October, right as I had started the watercolor Seeing Shadows here on the right. And I was struck by how they were in dialogue with one another. I really felt that some of it was obviously the grieving time of the loss of Jody, and what it meant to have something back that was in her home for those 40 years. And it is an image of the South Minneapolis home, just at dusk, lights on in the backyard. And the house was between where I lived and where Jody lived, 3 blocks away. Saw it frequently, stripped down the elements to just the basics, and then let the watercolor properties imbue the atmospheric quality. And in the one here on the right, the Seeing the Shadows, it was layering not only the paint, but also seeing the layers of the image of the rail in the foreground, the rock, the shadow from the rail that fades into the water, and layers of rock below the water surface. So the layering felt similar, even though the subject matter is very different. The atmospheric quality of the paint, the quietness of both of them. And I made the connection in the studio, whether the viewer would ever make connection and say, 40 years later, she still has some of the same paint handling methods. She's still using some of the tools on how watercolor is used on the paper, with many layers is how I've been using it. Some detail, some high contrast areas, and then just let the paint do what it does best on that surface of the paper.